In all the questions I've ever been asked, one question I haven't been is, what's it like to be a writer? They ask you what's it like to be a fighter, what's it like to be a boxer, what's it like to be a musician. I'm talking about journalists, radio people, broadcasters, people like that. What's it like to be this, what's it like to be that, what's it like to play saxophone, what's it like to be a writer? It's a fantastic job. It's a fantastic pastime, it's a fantastic experience. When I look around at our city, the Dublin of the 2023, and changes that have occurred here, then I think back to stories that I've heard, stories that I've written. I'm in the third book in the series, the Ashley Brown series, where we come into a story called Little Miss Madser. And Little Miss Madser tells the tale, basically continues on from where Frankie left off in The Promise Maker. And as anyone has read it, they know there was an epic battle in the end of the story. And what particularly happened to Frankie's father, or the man he thought was his father. And then we come in, that we understand then also clearly that we come into the story where Whacker Golden was one of the most, was Paddy Smith's rival, which is Frankie's father. But however, in saying that, in chapter 8, the very next day, Slasher, one of Frankie's friends, calls to him, and they go down to the house, to Whacker's house. I'm just going to read this chapter 8 in the story of how the encounter he has with Whacker, the rival to Paddy Smith, the day after Paddy Smith dies. Chapter 8. We arrived at Whacker's house, the cattle on 1,000 hills past the front door. Their padded hooves joined in the chorus with the sound of bleating sheep. Whacker opened the door and walked down the hall. We followed. The room was aged and tired. The walls blighted with dark stains. The chimney breast, sad and broken, was patched with old newspapers. In the scullery was a table with 4 chairs. Whacker took one that faced me. He sat for a moment. Then he pushed his chair back and rose. He snatched the razor from the table and shifted towards the countertop, laying the blade beside the sink. He showed excellent care in how he done this. I listened to Slasher and Hale. Whacker's thoughts brought him adrift. That was clear to see. There were 1,000 reasons why he couldn't lose himself in the meditation. He stirred a spoon in the cup of tea. He stirred it again, adding a drop of boiling water. The tea leaves, the water, a sup of milk, the smell, a builder's delight on an unfriendly day. Whacker was the street fighter, murderer, a thief. Loud in word and deed, the hardest man to walk our streets, the people said. He would shuffle one way and disappear another. He'd use his lips to smile, his gaze to frighten, and his fists to fight. He surveyed me with a mocking grin. I inspected the grip on the spoon and calculated the distance between his hand and the knife. Frankie, take a seat. He tipped the spoon on the side of the cup. I'll stand if it's all the same to you. He repeated the action. Tap, tap, tap went the spoon on the side of the cup. You're a good lad. He raised the cup to his lips. Thanks. I'll drink to your health. He swallowed the contents. Whacker poured another cup of tea. This time he spilled some on a saucer. Blew the edge, and when he was happy, it wasn't too hot. He sipped it. I heard you're handy. Same as your outfit. Proper scrapper was Paddy. Give anyone a knock for the price of a pint. I've stood me ground. 2, if the occasion called for it. Ha ha! Modest. We're admired that. He sipped the tea again. Slasher hadn't moved. He was standing a few inches to my right. I watched him throw a sly glance in my direction. Whacker plucked up the knife and swiveled towards my face. Then he turned, picked up a frying pan from the counter and cooked eggs, sausages and rashers. With the blade clutched in his left hand, he bent the round mirror and worked the soapy edge over his soapy head. When the fry was ready, he laid it on a plate before us. We sat and ate like men, like a band of cheerful men. Your father was a great earner, Wacker said, chewing a bit of blood at the same time. He wasn't me father. Oh, why? Someone else were you? No. I gulped a cup of tea. No, he said. He gave the knife 2 little shakes and said, eat up your food, it's getting cold. I did as asked and wondered why I was there. What did he want? Honourable men are scarce. Your father was just that. Let me tell you something. You think me and Paddy were not friends? Nah. The best of pals, grew up together. It was that robbery that drove us apart. Sad. I'll honour the memory. His memory. He was a noble man. The anger raged within me. His death wasn't honourable. A man crushed from a fall. Nah. A fall? I don't believe that. Paddy and me ran across them roofs from nippers. He placed his open palm towards the floor, showing how young they had been. He didn't drop. Someone nudged him or murdered. That's a better way of saying it. That's what happened to poor Paddy. When you drop, you go down. He pointed his finger at the floor. But when you are pushed, well, that's when you go out. He used the same finger and pointed away from the table. Well, it wasn't you, because if I recall, you remained flat on your back after the priest knocked you out cold, I mused. For a few moments no word passed between us, and I saw the look of compassion on his face. He took the time to show pity for the boy he grew up with, not the man who died. I want nothing to do with Paddy Smith. Wacker said he wished to honour him. He craved revenge. It was something he'd take pride in bringing about. He needed to honour a man who walked bound hand and foot to an evil path. Paddy tormented man. He was a dreadful man, dreadful nature. Wacker felt robbed because it should have been him who took Paddy Smith's life. Wacker smacked his lips and swallowed the contents of the saucer and wiped his mouth with the tips of his fingers. Right, lads, I have a little job for you, pair. He planted his hands on the table, pushed the chair a few inches from him. Then he rose, picked up the plate. He danced his way to the sink and sang a song about a dead man and starving nation. This performance made my heart happy. I whistled along with him. Slasher hummed at the same time. Wacker sat and played with spoons. He picked up his hat and placed it on his head. He cocked it to the right. Dreamy-eyed, he sang in full voice. With his eyes closed, his mental engagement brought a smile. It was his way to say goodbye to his childhood friend, a tribute to a dead man walking, who now walked among the dead. I'm just going to leave it at that. The chapter's not actually finished there, but I'm just going to leave it at that part, and we just see basically the introduction of more and more revealed Wacker. Wacker reveals himself more in this. He's in it slightly in the last book, The Promise Maker, but in this he comes into it a little bit more, and we can see where there is an engagement between them, and they have a particular mindset, and that mindset isn't exactly what would be, I suppose, acceptable in society. However, in saying that, that's just chapter 8, part of chapter 8 in the book, which will be soon released, sometime soon, obviously, hopefully. Little Miss Madser by George Fitzgerald, third book in the Ashley Brown series. The Secret Life of Ashley Brown comes first, Promise Maker second, and then we find this Little Miss Madser.